Good afternoon to those of you who are in the Eastern Time Zone. Good morning to those of you in the Central Time Zone. This is our next session of Ultra Week. Today, this session, we're going to talk about importing exams into Ultra. Specifically, Amy Argo will be discussing how to take those exams that you already have in your Learn Original course and pull them into Ultra. So I'm going to turn this over to Amy, but before she takes over, I do want to go ahead and tell everyone in the audience that if you have questions for Amy, you don't have access to a microphone. I can promote you if you put your hand up. However, most questions can go into the chat and I will be monitoring chat. So Amy, I'm going to turn over to you.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Wonderful, wonderful. All right. I'm hoping you can see my presentation. Leah, can you verify that?
Yes, you can.
Wonderful. I am having to work on a very small screen today. I live in Dawson Springs, Kentucky, and we were affected by the tornado, which is fine. And all of a sudden, I started hearing something bang on the roof right before 10 o'clock my time, and the roofers decided to come fix my roof this morning. Of all mornings, they said they were coming 2 weeks ago, and I had to vacate my house very quickly because I knew I couldn't do the presentation with all the banging and the noise, and plus I have 3 small puppies that were not enjoying the noise, so they were very barky this morning. So I had to run across the street to my mother's and use her laptop very quickly. So I don't have an extra screen, so I'm just trusting if something goes wrong, someone just yell out and let me know. All right, so it's time to start. I am Amy Argo. I'm the Senior Faculty Developer at the System Office, and this session is going to be shorter, and it's just a shorter session on importing exams from your Learn Original to your Ultra. I know it's lunchtime, so I'm hoping you're sitting there munching on something, but if you get a chance, just type something in the chat and Leah will let me know if you have any questions or if I'm going too fast or whatever you need. So if you're building a course in Ultra from scratch, or maybe you've brought over parts of your original course into Ultra and you want to use some of those same exams or question banks that you've used in the past, this is the session that you need to be listening to. All right, let's first look at test banks or question pools. The first thing you need to do is you're going to export those from Learn Original. We're going to look first at the step-by-step instructions, and then I'm going to take you on a live look at a demonstration in just a minute. So let's look at the step-by-step steps first. Okay. On the left side of Learn Original, you've got all the options and you've got a control panel, which you'll see looks like this. And you're going to select Course Tools, and then the Test Surveys and Pools. And you've got a choice, so you're going to select Pools. And this is where all your question pools excuse me. And so here's your choice. You can export them or save them to your local computer, to content collection, or to QTI 2.1 package. So let's take a look at those 3 options so you know which one to best, which is your best option here. When you are exporting, you can export to your local computer. And what this does is it essentially just saves your test bank. Remember, we're taking it from Learn Original. So your original test bank that you have, this is going to save that test bank to your computer. You can choose any place or folder on your hard drive, your OneDrive, or even to an external hard drive that you have. So somewhere where you absolutely know exactly where that resides. The second option here with the second arrow is you can export it to what's called a content collection. Now, you may or may not see this option. You will only see this option if your school has opened this for you. A content collection, just so you know if you do see it, is this small designated saving area just for your stuff. So rather than creating tests in multiple courses, you can create a test in one section of your class and export it to this content creation little area, this nook of yours that resides in Blackboard, and import it to another class for any current or future semester. The good thing about this is you can also edit the test here, and it's going to edit it for all the classes where it's used, and you can also share it among colleagues. So if your biology department has a content collection, then all the biology will have the same test pools, and one person edits it, then everybody will have the same edits. Again, this option may or may not be available to you. The third option is you're going to export to a QTI 2.1 package. That sounds very technical and complicated. It's really not. What this does is it saves it into a format that's going to allow it to be imported into other LMS, learning management systems, third-party software, publisher content. Its QTI is just a standard compatibility assurance that supports many other content creators. So just if you were happen to teach at another college that uses another LMS, then you would want to export your test that you created to a QTI package, because that's probably going to be read by that other another LMS. But for right now, my suggestion to you is to save it to your local computer. That right now is the easiest, the fastest, and the most it's the most findable test bank that's saving place that you're going to be able to find. You know exactly where it's at. It'll be in a format that Blackboard already reads, and everything's going to be right there. When we do the demonstration, I'm going to save to my local computer so you can see how it works. Let's talk a little bit about exporting individual tests. Let's say that you have one particular test, like a midterm. It's not a pool, but it's one particular test you want to export. In a nutshell, you can't. All right, but it's extremely easy to work around this. All tests in Blackboard Original need to be converted into a pool before importing into Ultra. So all you have to do is take that test, create a pool of questions for it, and export it into the pool that we just learned. I'm going to show you how to do that, and it takes 2 seconds. It's not a big deal at all. And that way it can be easily converted into Ultra, and I will demonstrate that in just a minute. Now let's talk about the importing process into Ultra, and we'll get started on that. The very first thing I need to tell you, very, very, very important, some of the question types that are in Learn Original, are not supported in Ultra. They will not transfer. Please make a note of that. The ones that I have at the bottom of your screen right now are supported, and they do transfer over to Ultra. You've got the calculated formula, the essays, fill in the blank, fill in multiple blanks, matching, multiple choice, multiple answer, and true and false. These will transfer. Those are your most common types. They are mobile friendly. Okay, and so those are the ones. The things that you had in Learn Original, like the hotspot, the ordering, the Likert, the either or, things like that, they will not transfer. What that means is you're going to lose those questions. The reason being is what I've found when I did some research is that those are not easily fitted for mobile users. They're not almost like touchscreen friendly. They don't transfer over to phones and iPads and things like that, mobile devices. So they need to be, if you want to save those questions, you need to convert them into one of these types of questions before you transfer, or you will lose those questions. I'm going to demonstrate that in a second and show you what that looks like. So let's say we're all good on our questions. We're ready to import into Ultra. Now, When we import into Ultra, now that we have the test banks and pools saved to our computer, here's the step-by-step instructions for bringing them to our new course. On the left side of our new course, we've got a simple thing called question banks. We're going to hit manage banks, and we've got this little plus sign up here. So we're going to hit the plus sign, and we're going to add to a new question bank. Now, once we add that, it's going to pop up and ask, what question bank do you want to pop in? We will select our whatever file we want. It's always a zip file. Makes it easy on our memory on our computers. When we get that uploaded, we're going to receive a message. If it's green, that means it's good. Green means go. Okay, so if the question bank imported successfully. And if it's red, it means that there was an error. And like I said, it could be an error with a test, or it could be an error with one of the questions on the test, meaning that it was a file that wasn't supported. We'll see that in a minute as well. Another thing, this is just a frequently asked question, so I wanted to add it here. Once you get your test bank or your question pool into Ultra, to use specific questions from your test, what you're going to do is you're going to create a test and add a question. And you're going to go down. Now you can add the question pool if you want. You can create questions, but there's this reuse question button. So you're going to go down and select this reuse question option. And then it's going to give you all kinds of filters. So you can filter by question type, question bank, which is down here, and maybe by source. So from your Unit 1 quiz, whatever quiz or test you opened up, and you can find your specific question that you want to use for that test. Now, let's demonstrate. We're going to try it. I'm going to demonstrate entering a pool first, and it's got actually a hotspot question on it. So I'm going to show you what to do with that. I'm going to exit out of here, and let's go back into, sorry about that. All right. Now, here's my original course. So I'm going to open up my just generic original course. And remember, the very first thing I do is I go get that test. So under Control Panel, Course Tools, I'm going down to Test, Surveys, and Pools. Okay, I have created a pool called Exam 2 Questions. All right, now I've told you that one of these questions is a hotspot. I did that on purpose. We'll see it in just a second. All right, I'm going to export to my local computer. And you'll see in Chrome, if you're in Chrome, it goes down here, which means it's going to my downloads. I've got it saved in my downloads, so I'm going to go to my Ultra course. Here's my brand new spiffy Ultra course. I go to the left side, and there's that Manage Banks thing that I said would be there. Oops, there's where I was doing it this morning. All right, so here's my plus sign. And let's go to Downloads. And there it is, 223.11.13. That's the one I just did. So it's going to upload pretty fast, but depending on your internet speed and the size of the pool, this particular process could take a while. Not usually over a couple of minutes. You'll see that it does give you your supported question type, so you can click on that link if you want. It's going to take you to the Blackboard Question Bank Help. I don't want to take a quick survey. Got all kinds of pop-ups. It's going to take you to the Blackboard Question Bank page, and it will even tell you what I just told you about the question types. These are the supported question types. And just give you some other quick things that you've probably heard me say today. Let's go back and see. It's still processing. Do we have any questions so far?
So there's been some conversation in the chat, although I think it's been mostly answered, about questions pulling in with the pictures. And most of the faculty are confirming that they do pull in, but they come up in this little icon that students have to to click on to see in a preview state. But it seems like the faculty are saying the students are figuring it out and not having trouble finding that. Barb, I will say, if you're still finding that you are not pulling in yours properly, I would highly recommend that you speak to your college's Ultra Champion, and you might have a couple at your college, whichever one you're at. And they should be able to help you figure out what's going on with your images.
Okay, yes, it will pull up images. I don't think it will do the hotspot. Well, it won't do the hotspot questions, but it will pull up the images as answers, yes. Okay, so here's this that I just imported, and it's telling me it's in red with the little warning sign here and the warning sign here. And remember, it was 5 questions in Learn. Well, now it's now just 4 questions. It has deleted the hotspot question because that's an unsupported type. I can click here, but it's just going to bring me back to that question bank. So unsupported question types were removed. So it just removed that question. So now this test bank is minus that 1 question. Okay, now let's go back, and I'm going to go to my Learn course again, my original course, and show you maybe what I could do with that question. Let me just, I'm keep watching the time here. This question, I made up these tests. This one happens to be a friend's test. So this one right here, this is a test, what does Ross purchase for himself as part of the 1999 New Year's resolution? So they would click on leather pants is what he purchased for himself for his resolution. But, you know, instead of these pictures, I would need to change this to a multiple choice, probably is what I would put. The Wonder Mop, the Porsche, Miss Pac-Man, or leather pants. And then that question would have gone through if I changed it to a multiple choice instead of a hotspot. All right, now let me show you what happens when I try to do an individual test. What I need to do first, remember, I cannot import individual test. I have to first turn it into a pool and then make it into, and then it will import. So let me go here first. I'm going to go to Test Surveys and Pools, go to Pools, and I'm going to build a pool based on that Chapter 1 test. So I'm going to name it Chapter 1 Exam Pool, whatever I want to name it. I'm going to find questions. You probably know how to create a pool. Okay, and I'm going to based on test. So let me do that based on test. And it's the Chapter 1 exam. This one's a Disney test. It's got 5 questions in it. I'm just going to bring all those questions because I just want that poll to just have my Chapter 1 exam in here. And I'm going to submit. So now, all this poll is exactly this Chapter 1 exam. That's all it is. I'm going to OK it. So now I can go through the exact same steps I just did. I'm going to export to my local computer. And there it is. It is saved. Go to Ultra. Question banks. Add. This is my Disney quiz. This one takes just a couple of minutes, and I thought it would be fun to show you my Chapter 1 exam. If we have any Disney fans in here, does anyone know the answers to these tests? I timed it. This import takes like 2 minutes. So I thought if we have 2 minutes, does anyone know the answer to these questions? But then I don't have the chat, so Leah will have to yell them out if anybody knows.
So we're getting some answers for number 1, tiger.
Yes.
We've got one answer for number 2, which is a feather.
It is a feather.
Looks like Brian Barger is killing it here. Number 3, he's saying clock.
Yes. And what's his name? Does anybody know the crocodile's name?
Brian, hurry up. Tell me the name in the chat, quick.
Quick,
While
quick,
he
quick.
while he waits to type the name, he's got number 4 is a pumpkin, and number
Yes.
5 is Thumper.
Brian's a Disney fan.
Yeah, lots of other people were getting the question correct as well, but Brian was just plowing through them. So
Does anybody know the crocodile's name? He swallowed a clock. That's like the bonus question. I need to add that as the bonus question.
Mr. Tix, I don't know. What's his name, Amy?
His name is TikTok.
TikTok. I was so close.
You were
And I
very
didn't
close.
know anything about Disney. And Kim,
Okay.
she thought that you were saying that I was saying that the crocodile's name was Brian.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so my Disney Chapter 1 exam that everybody seemed to pass except Leah, it did go through because I didn't have any other question types in there. And so now I've got the Chapter 1 exam as a pull, and I can go and add that as just my Chapter 1 exam in there as just that individual exam. And it's not really a pull, it's just that one exam. So I told you that it would not be a long session at all. And is there not a long session at all? Are there any more questions? I'm always available. I just can't see the questions right now.
There's nothing yet still in the chat at this point.
It's very simple. It's a very simple process.
Okay. Well, since it doesn't look like we have any additional questions, I'm going to go ahead and just close out this session a few minutes early. I want to thank everyone for participating in this session. It's great that you were part of this and that you asked your question. Latoya Jones gave you a shout out, Amy, and said this was the most helpful session so far. Thank you.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you, Latoya. Thank you.
And I also want to thank you, Amy, for leading this session. It was wonderful. It was very informative, and it was also recorded. So we will post those on our info center probably in a week or so. And everyone will have access to that. So if you feel like you need a refresher later, this video will be posted soon to our info center. So thank you very much. The next session will start in 8 minutes. Oh, Latoya has a hand raised, but now it's been lowered. Latoya, did you have a question? If you do, raise your hand again and we'll put you on microphone. Oh, it looks like that may have been an accident. So I'm just going to let everyone go. Thank you all so much. I'll see you back here at 12:30.